recording and I wasn't listening.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. Due to the governor's statewide disaster declaration relating to the COVID-19 pandemic and current public health guidelines for social distancing, I've determined that it's not prudent for the members of the village board or staff to convene in person for tonight's meeting. Therefore, the members of the village board are attending this meeting by video conference. Those same conditions require barring access to the public for in-person attendance. In light of those limitations, the public is invited to attend and listen to the meeting through the Zoom platform or by phone, as indicated on tonight's meeting agenda. To comply with the Open Meetings Act and Rita's remarks, tonight's meeting is being recorded. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take roll call. Trustee O'Connor, are you here?
Here.
And I can hear you. Trustee O'Reilly?
No, here, I'm here.
You're here and I can hear you. Trustee Kritzmeyer?
I'm here.
And I can hear you. Trustee Borowski?
Present, loud and clear.
And I can hear you. Trustee Tanucci?
I am here.
All right, and I can hear you. And Trustee Michaud?
I am here.
All right, we're all here. Okay. I'm going to start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
To
flag
the flag
of the United
of
States
the
of
United
America
States of America,
and to the
and
republic
to the republic
for which
it
it
for which
stands,
it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with liberty
liberty
with liberty
and
and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. The very first item on the agenda is the oath of office for our new village clerk, Michelle Schmidtke. Michelle, I'm going to swear you in if I can.
Okay, great.
We'll do this virtually. I guess I can't see you, so if you can raise your
Oh.
right hand.
Wait, is my video not on?
No.
Just, sorry. Can you see me now?
I can see you now. I love it.
Okay.
All right, there you are.
Nice.
All right, everyone can see you. So repeat after me if you would, please. I, Michelle Schmidtke,
I, Michelle Schmidtke,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village clerk
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village clerk
of the village of Long Grove, Illinois, to the best of my ability.
of the village of Long Grove, Illinois, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here.
All right.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, the next thing we have homeowners associations up on the agenda. I don't know if Royal Melbourne is here, Andy Maggio, or from the Orchards of Long Grove, Joe Gallo. All right, I don't see anyone else there, so I take it that none of those HOAs are here. All right, so moving right along in our agenda, the next item is the village president and trustee reports. I do have one report that under my item that I want to talk about, which is the parking at Old Hicks and Checker Road. As you'll recall, when we entered into the intergovernmental agreement with the county to add the additional screening for the Buffalo Creek Forest Preserve, the Forest Preserve and the county agreed to work with us to try to add additional parking because of the parking challenges that we have, just because of the demand for the, for the park, the trails that they have there and the enhancements they made. So there's been, parking problems going on, and it's continuing, and it was thought that it would go away once COVID goes away. COVID's not going away, but it'll probably be around for a while. So they met with us, village manager Greg Jackson, myself, Mara Altenberg, and Randy Seebach from the Forest Preserve. We met with them, and they made a proposal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen because I think this might be the easier way to do it. I'm going to share my second screen. I don't know if you can see the screen over here on the right. Can you see this diagram?
Yes,
So right now, this is the Ela Soccer Club area, and they have parking over here. And I actually had spoken with the president of the soccer club, Doug Anderson, and they do on occasion fill it up because the basically we were asked if we could allow parking over here, but we have a lease with the Ela Soccer Club, so that doesn't work. But the thinking was that if we could take, there's a gate right here, if you can see it, where my mouse is moving, there's a gate right here right now, and if the gate was moved back, and if the asphalt was widened slightly, and including a turnabout lane, we could get about 10 parking spaces in here that could be used for people that are trying to use the Buffalo Creek Forest Reserve. So there's, you have a memo in your packet. The Forest Reserve has the labor to do it, and maybe some dollars for the installation. They're asking us to help with the installation, but they don't really have any dollars to continue with the ongoing maintenance and so forth. So what they said was they would, if we would contribute something, I think it's 6 to 10 is what they asked, that they would build the parking lot. They'd even put a sign up, put the striping in, and the sign would be ours. It wouldn't be their lot. It would be our lot to maintain, but this lot would be built in this area here that you see that we could use, for residents or anyone else that, for additional parking for the for goers of the Buffalo Creek Forest Reserve. So, Greg, I don't know if I omitted anything from the summary that they were kind enough to put together, but we wanted to get feedback because they got a quote to do the installation, and this is something that they can do this year yet, but they would look for some dollars for us to donate towards it. So I'll stop there. And Greg, if there's anything I missed, please let me know.
No, President Jacob covered it with every I dotted and T crossed. They're asking for us at this board meeting to have the board come back and with some kind of idea if they'd be interested in moving forward so they can move it to the next step of their Lake County Forest Preserve Board, hoping to get it again done this year. They did mention that this was a result of the trails that were increased in number. I think they had mentioned there was the additional traffic, foot traffic, as well as vehicle traffic, and they were just looking to alleviate some of that street parking.
Could somebody give me a 2-minute history on the Ela soccer? Is it a baseball or soccer club?
It's soccer.
Okay, well, and who gave them? Did we give them the land?
Yeah, they're leasing it from us. They're leasing it from us, and they have a long-term lease. It's up in Vic.
2026, I believe.
2026, yeah.
Okay, did they build the parking lot?
They built the parking lot. We had the land. We did some initial grading on the land. They did some fine grading. They put in facilities for the parking. They still are supposed to be putting in facilities for irrigation. I don't think they have to have an in-ground sprinkler system. That's not required, but it's intended that they would have water sources available to allow the sprinkling. I don't believe that's been completed yet.
is there a time frame in the agreement by which they must have complete that?
So let me, there's something that our new village manager has on his plate, because they've been trying to get in contact with Menards because they have the ability to share the Menards water, and the Menards has not been very helpful. So they've asked for our help to try to get a water hookup.
That rings a bell. Yeah, that had been mentioned sometime prior.
Yep. So that's where we're, and so on just added to Greg's plate, he's got that one too to deal with. I think we're it's at the end of the season, but I know that that's something they're going to want to figure out is, due to the dryness the last 2 years, it's been tough for them to keep the field looking nice. So.
Well, it just seems like I like the parking as proposed, but it also seems a shame to have a facility that isn't used 24 hours a day, not to be able to be used jointly with the public.
Yep, no, I understand that concern.
Is there anything that can be done with that concern?
Well, I think the issue is they're filling up they do fill up the lot, and I think it'd be very difficult if you open it up. You have the other issue of cut through traffic too, if you don't handle that properly either. That's why the gate's there, because you can get clearly through from Route 53 all the way through here. And you have that challenge as well. So it could be disruptive to try to share that lot. It's not that they wouldn't be willing to, it's just, once you open it up, how do you,
Well,
How do you
that's the
control
problem
it?
with
You know what I mean?
giving people things.
right?
And one of the other things to note is that the soccer club has the maintenance obligations and
What, to
they're-
maintain their property?
No,
Uh,
Jeff,
It's our
t-
property.
Our
Well, it's our
property.
property, but during the term of the lease, they effectively, think about an
Yeah, but if
apartment,
we can't
it's
use
yours
it, then
for-
it's their property.
Right, no, during the term of the lease, they have the exclusive rights of enjoyment to it. And part of that is also that they have the obligation to maintain. So I could see that they might be hesitant to be too welcoming to others because it might cause some damage that would cost them money.
So in 5 years, they will turn this over to us?
I don't know, they may want to keep it.
Well, no, if we want it.
Oh, sure they will.
Do they have the
Yeah.
right of first refusal?
No, they don't have any such rights at all. And it is at the end of the lease, they just have to leave. Otherwise, we have penalty rent that they would have to pay.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Okay.
I took us off subject.
I think it'd be a good idea to proceed. The memo notes that we're not sure of administrative and legal costs. Do we think those are going to be materially large compared to the $6,000 to $10,000 in the memo?
I believe that the cost will be, the administrative cost will be to make sure the paperwork's, properly put together, work with Vic and Vic's team to put together the IGA. They being the Lake County Forest Preserve District would like Vic to take first shot at the IGA. So that's the cost we would be including with that. The administrative costs will be minor in my opinion, but I still wanted to make sure that all the costs were presented.
so if I understand this, we would shovel it in the winter or have it shoveled, right?
Well, you don't have to. That's one of the decisions we could make, right? Is not shovel it in the winter. If you can't use the trails, we don't, why shovel the parking lot, right?
You can use the trails. I use them in the winter. Is that turnaround something where Lesters can get their equipment there if we have to deal with it?
It's no different than a normal cul-de-sac in some of the subdivisions.
Okay.
And the gate that is at Checker and Hicks now would be moved south, basically where it's showing it on the diagram. And that,
Yep, right here. And they'd put a split rail fence up here to prevent, or over here somewhere to prevent people from driving through. So,
but the gate would be, it's portable, right? But
yeah, it can be removed and they'll install it over here, right?
But it would be semi-permanent.
It would be permanent, yeah. They would just dig it out of the ground and reinstall it over here.
I got it. And
What
I'll,
do you need from us tonight?
Well, I think, so we probably need to have a formal resolution approved, but we just need a nod that the board would support this so we can, let the Forest Preserve know that and then also get the paperwork drawn up to make it official.
To
I
that
would support it.
I
Yeah,
support it.
Yeah, to that point, the Forest Preserve Board has not even approved it yet. They're waiting for our village to make a recommendation or a decision.
So we're not approving, we're giving direction, and then each side is going to have an IGA to deal with.
Correct.
That's correct.
This would be a matter of getting a consensus with the concept.
can I
All right,
ask
so I heard a yes
can I ask
from,
another process question?
sure, but can I just, go ahead. Yep, sure.
So just so I understand, these are all parallel parking type spaces. None of them are head in or back out, right?
Yes,
It's the narrow part of it.
Yep.
And if any liability, insurance, abandoned cars, whatever, that falls on us. Is that correct? Basically,
it's our parking lot, yes.
yeah, okay, all right. I'm just asking. I'm good. I would support it.
Okay, so I had a yes out of Rita. Bobby, were you a yes?
Yes.
And I heard yes. Chris?
Seems the boys can't get a word in edgewise tonight. Couple questions. So at night, how do we police this area from like overnight parkers? How do we keep people from parking in here overnight? Or I don't want to be as crude as saying a nice makeout spot, but that's essentially what it is. And is
How
there
would
an
that be
easy?
different than the back? How would that be different from the back corner of Semple?
Or
There's
the
more-
village
there's-
hall.
There's people around. Okay, is that just maybe a rhetorical question? I don't know. So is there an easement granted then here, Bill? That's how we're doing this, or?
No.
It's our
that's-
parking lot and we have an easement right here. This is our easement here. Vic can get the
Well,
technical.
we have the right of way that's going to be used. There's not an easement to be granted to the forest preserve as part of the overall concept here. And this area is not within any of the sensitive areas that lie in this vicinity.
Chris?
Chris is confused. I'm trying to recall why we were doing this in the first place. I thought our purpose was to try to obtain an easement from.
Well, let's
from the Forest Preserve, or-
if I can suggest it, we had a lot of different issues up in the air, and I'm purposely trying to cut you off, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that insofar as avoiding the parking on Old Hicks and Checker, where traffic is more routine, and which would be illegal anyway, there was some concept that getting them into a place that they can not be in the way of passersby would be a safer outcome.
Oh, sure,
So
sure.
that
that's
will
clear.
certainly achieve that outcome. I think there's also a desire to try to establish and maintain good relationships with the forest preserve, and I think that this will likely do some of that. There are issues that we've talked about that could be done in the future after the lease with the soccer field is concluded, but we can't do any of those things before then anyway. And this particular stretch of the right of way is not within any of those critical areas that we were talking about in terms of certain long-term strategies.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Just so that's all fine, Bill. I support it. So just to note for some of the questions asked earlier, back in the day, probably 8 or 9 years ago, the village tried to work a deal with the park district for the park district to take possession, ownership, and control of this property, and that would have not only allowed possibly the lease, but would have also allowed more public use of this particular space. And at that time, the park district chose not to pursue that option that was on their table. So to kind of Bobby's question, from a historical perspective, that discussion took place a while ago, and that's sort of how we ended up saying the only way we could pay for this is to have it turned over to kind of a private leaseholder who would lock it down for the use of the soccer fields. So,
Chris, where did we get it? I'm
No,
a
no, it
little
was-
vague.
part
We
of the
acquired, we
part-
acquired this property from Menards. It was when we went through there was some area that was annexed and the rest of it was rezoned as part of Menards. As part of that overall development approval and the annexation agreement,
I
we-
remember.
we arranged for the purchase of this property. And as Chris said, we were looking at one point to the Park District to take on programmatic control of this. They were not interested in getting into that business. And that's when we started
Yeah.
exploring other options.
Okay, it's coming back.
Yeah, thank you, Vic. So Bill, I'm good with it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for that and questions. Trustee Micho,
I'm good with it. I think getting people off the checker is a good thing. And lots of people are using the park, the forest preserve, which I think is great.
thank you. Thank you for that. Trustee Tanucci.
Yeah, I was wondering why this property was not part of the park district, so that answered that question. Apparently this discussion took place before I ever started at the park district. But yeah, I support what's being proposed. That's fine.
Yeah, it was before your time on the park board. Trust me, I'll buy you a beer and tell you a great story about it someday.
Okay,
All right,
I look forward to it.
we have direction. Thank you for that. Before we move, oh, by the way, no, hold on a second. Let me just ask one more question. There was an ask of $6,000 to $10,000. What's the limit? What do you guys think? Make sure I'm clear on that.
Well, it appeared to me that they're splitting it up, one third to 2/3. That's, they're making the improvement. I have no problem with it.
I
I'm
would
good up to
top it
10.
at, I would top it at 12.
Well, no, they've only asked for 6 to 10, so.
I wouldn't go over 10.
You didn't ask what I thought their ask was.
All right, so we have a little bit of, am I hearing everyone's okay if we come to an agreement if it's in that range, 6 to 10?
As long as
Yeah.
Vic doesn't get too expensive.
Do they have to know what our top number is? I mean, we've
We
already.
just talked about it in open meeting.
We've already
Yeah.
divulged it, but,
Yep.
all right.
Yeah, but we needed to have that discussion too, so thank you. All right, we have enough direction. Thank you. I'm gonna, before I move it over to the other trustees that may or may not have reports, I'm gonna make one comment. We're gonna discuss Stemple under Jeff's report. And I'm gonna also say that the information that came in today from the Park District regarding the access drive, I'm proposing that we let village staff have an opportunity to review and think through what has been proposed before we discuss it, because I think there's things that need to be thought through about what their proposal is. So I hope everyone's okay with that. I just wanted to make sure that that's tonight. I don't think we should discuss it. We got all this information, my memo over the weekend. We got the other stuff today. There's been no chance for village staff to really look at it and provide any guideposts on any concerns that we might have with that proposal. So I hope
I
everyone's okay with
heartily
that.
agree.
Hey,
Okay.
Heartily
Mhm.
agree.
Bill, this
Yeah,
is Vic.
agree.
I'm sorry for interrupting. I was too slow unmuting myself. I wanted to mention one thing apropos Rita's comment. The 6 to 10,000 is for the materials. So what the agreement will end up saying is that we'll pay for the materials, but not to exceed 10,000. And so I think that is the way that we'll set this up in terms of making sure that we stay within a limit and we're not showing our hands, so to speak.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
I thought you were gonna
have they not agreed to the labor part of it? And they're asking us to participate in the materials?
That's all they're
gonna
asking
cover
for.
the labor and
Yeah,
we're
just the
to
labor.
cover the material cost.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, thanks.
Well, and we'll want, I mean, the only other thing we'll want to have done too is we'll want Jeff just to eyeball what they're proposing too, right? So make sure that, it meets our specs, so. Because we'll be maintaining it in the future. All right, so that's the end of my report, and I'll just, I guess, go around. I mean, we have a sheriff report in the package. I don't know if Chris wanted to make any comments or Denise did. It doesn't look like crime is picking up. There's plenty of extra patrols I see, but didn't see anything crazy. I don't know if Chris, you had any comments?
Oh, Bill, I don't have any comments. I've got some questions I want to follow up with Greg on afterwards, but kind of my real question is, what happens if our police officer isn't doing that? Or are these statistics based on all of Long Grove, independent of whether it's our contracted officer or if it's a otherwise dispatched sheriff coming into Long Grove? was just kind of curious about that. I wasn't quite sure I know. So anyway, I'll follow up with Greg and or Denise afterwards.
Well, I hope you'll share that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because when you look at some of the numbers, you go, wow, like, 200 of this or 100 of that, and you go, wow, that seems like an awful lot. So anyway,
I'd
Not
love
sure
to
if-
hear. My understanding, I thought we had a conversation once upon a time where part of this is our designated people, because sometimes if there's not a lot of crime, then we end up, there's one area or two areas that are kind of catch-all, that they allocate their, committed time. And I'd love to know if I'm incorrect in that impression.
so other than that, no comment on the police report. Bill, SWACO meeting will be this Thursday, by the way. I read through the proposed agenda. There's not a lot of substance in there beside, bill paying and budget issues and that kind of thing. So not a lot of significant issues that are on the agenda, but I'll give you a report next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
Can I ask
Um,
a question about, I think it's a Swalco question? The bin at Stemple, that's Swalco, right?
Yes.
It's not Stemple.
I'm
Oh, it's
sorry.
not- it's Archer.
I'm
It's
sorry,
Archer.
Archer. It seems that people don't understand how that box works. When I'm there to drop things off, I can easily put them in the box, but there's stuff that's always in plastic bags sitting around it. I don't know if they're too short to reach the handle,
It's tall.
It is.
It's tall.
Yeah, and if you've got somebody who's 5 feet or less, they can't really reach that bar. And I don't know if that's why they just set the stuff down, or they just can't figure out how to work it.
Well, wrapped in plastic bags next to the bin is actually acceptable per the SWACO rules. So
Okay.
I think they're okay with that. I mean, the initial idea was that if it's full, make sure they're closed bags so that they're not getting wet, and then they could sit outside. But your question about height and dexterity is really interesting. I mean, I've never thought about it.
Okay.
I sent a
How tall
photo.
are you, Chris?
I think I'm big enough to open the door, but
I can, but it's a stretch.
I
I
understand
know,
your
I don't
point.
think of those
Yeah.
things either.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Right.
You got a hefty bag full of stuff in there, whatever. It's
exactly.
like-
When you're over 6 feet tall, yeah, it doesn't.
Well, it was even worse when it was up on the curb. You added that much more to it, so
Oh,
it's better now.
all right, so thank you for that question. Let's just, Trustee Kritzmeyer, you're going to do the presentation of the financial reporting, right? So do you have anything else?
I do have something else, and just
Okay.
to note, we had Denise and Greg and I had a call last week with, I'm drawing a blank on his name, the head of Sphere Financial, Dan
Dan Forbes.
Dan Forbes, the CEO president of Sphere Financial. That's a municipal advisor. Recall when we were going through the TIF stuff a year and a half ago, we were a little confused at that. Municipal advisor is a fiduciary, meaning that their job is to keep our best interest in mind at all times. And the right sequence is to start with a municipal advisor and then work from there. The topic was to talk about the Herons Landing SSA bonds, which are eligible for refinancing. We talked about, I mentioned it at a prior meeting, several meetings ago, where the earlier underwriter had already approached folks at Herons Landing. We're just trying to get the sequence back in the right place where we start with the municipal advisor. So good, healthy meeting, lots of questions going on there. And so you'll hear more on that one. The other one I would add that's not the treasurer's report or the pay warrant that's already in the agenda might be, I don't know if Denise, you want to say that ClearGov is now sort of in test mode for the staff?
Yes, we are not launched obviously to the public, or it's just basically and Greg and I that have access right now. It's still, we're still looking at the numbers. I still have a meeting this week to kind of go through some things, but we are getting very close because we're starting to actually look at, how to market this on the website and maybe, in a newsletter, and also just looking at all the different aspects of, training, webinars. There's a lot of information there. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
If I might add, where they are is our data is now loaded up. It's not public.
Yes.
So we need to look and say, is it organized the right way? You know, is this presented the way we like it? And how might we use their tools to continue to present it in a way that makes sense?
Right.
So that's where it is. So everybody here will see something, but I know we had conversations about this in May, early June. It is proceeding. Denise and with Greg behind her, of course, is doing a great job. That's it. End of report.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate that. Trustee O'Reilly,
I have nothing.
thank you for that report. Trustee O'Connor.
I have nothing.
All right. Thank you for that report. Trustee Tanucci.
So I just wanted to say that I sent around to everybody that the tunnel under Route 83 was vandalized for the third time this summer, just recently. So we have a broken motion sensor as well as new graffiti on the outside of the tunnel. I understand that Greg is looking at solutions for painting that over. I don't know at what point we're going to decide this is a problem and try to do something about it, or if it's minor enough that we'll just keep painting over it indefinitely. But I think at some point, if this continues, we might have to decide what we're going to do other than just painting it. That's all I got.
Are the neighbors aware of
Yes.
this?
Yeah, I've communicated with the Oak Hills HOA president. I know him from my time at the Park District, and he said the neighbors have already been directed to keep an eye on the tunnel, even back from the first incident this summer. And they're doing that, but really nobody lives very close to the tunnel. So best case, you're going to get somebody that might see activity as they drive by. However, the Sheriff's Department is patrolling it regularly, but as we see, it's more a case of seeing what happened after it happened as opposed to catching somebody in the act.
All right, Kent, no, thank you for that. I'm assuming, you know, as a former HOA president too, that at some point in time, we'll catch up with them. We had all kinds of fun situations. So I'm just hoping that we sort it out and we, you know, catch who it is.
Yeah.
It's got to be somebody probably that lives in the neighborhood or nearby would be my guess. So
I would just say if there was some possibility of putting a trail cam there, if it is kids from the neighborhood and we get them on film, then they're probably easily identified if they're from the neighborhood. So that might be the next step if this continues.
Yep.
Didn't we have a camera there previously that was damaged or died or?
I think we have a sign, but I don't think we have a camera.
Oh, that's
Right.
right. That's right. That's right. We had the sign and no, and not really. That's right. I remember Jim
Yeah.
saying that. The motion sensor, how do you break a motion sensor? You just throw rocks at it? Do you hit it with a baseball bat? What?
Probably, yeah. It looks like they probably hit it with a baseball bat or a stick.
And that's to turn the light on inside the tunnel, right?
Yep.
Right. So when you enter the east entrance, the lights will not go on at all. But if you enter from the west side, they all go on because that one is still functional.
I see. So, and this is Park District property, Park District equipment?
No, it's Village under the road there.
Right.
Curious what staff thinks on that.
Well, I've had discussions with Deputy Oates, who was the one who took the initial response call on it. I've asked him to look in the possibility of wireless CCTV along the lines of what Ken's talking about, a trail cam. The difficulty with cameras are what you're going to deal with is what's taped because nobody's going to be watching it live. As far as keeping the tunnel open, I'm not prepared to speak to that. Don't know enough about its usage. I have been out there a couple times already, most recently on Friday, just to go back out and take a look. We have asked the Sheriff's Department to increase patrols. They're certainly aware of it. But right now it's, the one thing I do know from dealing with it in the past is the longer graffiti stays up, the more likely you're going to have taggers come back and tag again. So I'm trying to work
Right.
quickly to have either it removed or painted over, blasted, whatever the case may be. I'm reaching out to a couple communities who've had previous graffiti problems to see what kind of solutions they use to get rid of it and see if we can share those resources. Right now, it's let's watch and see what happens and continue to be vigilant in our patrols with the sheriff's department and us overseeing it just until we get a better grasp on it.
Got it.
For what it,
My own personal opinion, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just going to say, with all due respect, Kent, if we're going to get a camera up, I'd put it on the bridge first.
Okay.
From what
It's a
I-
bigger problem.
From what I hear from my pathway participants, that tunnel and those trails are heavily used by
Okay.
kids on bikes who can access their friends from school easily, safely on the other side of it.
Okay.
We got runners, we got walkers and dog walkers that, you know, I think it would be a huge hardship for a lot of our residents to close that.
Okay. That's good information. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Kent. Appreciate it. Trustee
Mhm.
Michaud?
I'm gonna go with no report today.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for your report. All right. Well, I'm going to move us right along. And that is, unless village staff had anything they wanted to share now or they want to wait. Nope. If not, I'll move us right along for the ratification of the July 2021 pay warrant. I guess we need a motion for that. And Michelle, are you ready to take this one? The roll call?
I am. I'm ready.
So somebody want to make a motion?
So moved.
I move that we ratify. Second,
Okay, so wait a minute, hold on a second. I think.
read it first.
Well, I think Bobby might have beat you
Oh.
all. So I think it was Trustee O'Reilly, seconded by Trustee O'Connor. I hope I got
Okay.
that right.
Makes no
That's it.
difference to me, I don't care.
Oh, geez. Roll
It
call,
matters
please.
not.
Michelle, can you take a roll call vote?
Sure. Trustee O'Reilly,
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor,
Aye,
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer,
Aye.
Trustee Michaud,
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you.
You're surprising us, Michelle, because in the past, Amy would do it based on where our typical seats are in the room.
Oh, I
So
know.
now you
she
got
told me.
to, now we got to pay
told me.
attention. It's good.
And
It's
Amy's
all
here
good.
tonight. Amy's here tonight too. She's watching us too. So, hi, Amy.
Well, listening, not watching.
There you go.
Amy was a huge help to me, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again, Amy, for staying on and helping out here. So we appreciate it.
You are welcome.
Hey, so the next item then, and that was carried. The next item is the treasurer's report. And I don't know who wants to take the honors, if that's Denise, Greg, or Ann, to talk about the treasurer's report.
I have some thoughts. I don't know if Denise or Greg want to add as well. I just, as you'll note, we're now at 99% budget coverage. Last time we looked at this, recall, I know Bill had a question. Our fiscal year changed as of May 1st, and last year we had a low general expense budget because of COVID. Now it went up, and so all of a sudden the coverage did a gap, and that was because we changed fiscal years. We're now on the higher current fiscal year, and so that's good news. We're approaching 1 year budget coverage, which is our goal and our policy. And the other thing I would note is you'll see that there is quite a bit of TIF unrestricted cash. That's a conversation, a couple of conversations that Greg and I have had ago that I had hoped to be able to tee up at some point as either a workshop or part of our visioning session on kind of where we want to go forward strategically and then how that cascades down tactically. The other thing is we're keeping a good eye on where our revenues come from. As you know, in May and June, I think a lot of people might have stopped grocery shopping and started restaurant attending. but we're trying to keep track of that. That's what I have. Greg and Denise, well, please add.
Well, speaking to the warrant, we finally have been caught up with our warrants. I'm going back to the warrants. So we'll be current with the warrants, having them presented at the first of each month. This now will have us caught up at next month with the treasurer report. So all those months of backlog, we finally have turned around and have those caught up. And so we should be current with every board meeting going forward. In addition to that, just a point of information as it relates to our finances. We have, Denise has been working diligently on meeting with the banks. We're looking to consolidate some of our banking, as well as make sure we have money in the right interest-bearing accounts where appropriate, and have our funds in a well-protected and recognized and established banking system. So we're working diligently to have that completed within the next 30 days and bring it to the board for changes we want to make in that regard.
Just one other thing to note, we are walking through to the revenues and expenditures, after 3 months into this fiscal year, just to kind of look if there's anything of concern or, anything that needs to be looked at. So we're in the middle of that process right now too.
I would, off of that point Denise just made, we spent some time really drilling into the budget. So I would anticipate we're going to come back to the board with recommendations to making some budget adjustments based on technology expenses that were incurred, the outside consultants with Baker Tilly, as well as Bill Balling Consultants. So we're going to have to make some adjustments to the budget. But once we put those, finally get those on paper, we'll bring those back to the board for your direction.
Yeah, the only comment I had, was that the Illinois sales tax seemed to be down, and then there's the new bucket for the local use tax, which was the internet tax. And I think that was, it's an estimate right now is what I got back, right? We don't have the final numbers yet. So
we have no numbers on local use.
Yeah. Okay.
We will have.
It's three.
I apologize, trustee.
Go ahead.
I was just going to go back and add one more thing, was that I sent out an email earlier today. We'll be receiving a check for roughly about $548,000 on our first installment of the ARPA funds. We were one of the first communities to get our money, or get our paperwork in. I saw Congressman Schneider issued an email to some 20 odd communities within his district that have not even submitted their paperwork yet. So we're ahead of the game in that regard.
Thank you for being so diligent on that, Greg.
Yeah, definitely.
It was too pretty
And
of a
for everybody,
number.
and everybody recall that money is restricted in its use. It has certain purposes.
Can I ask 2 questions on the treasurer's report?
Please do.
Can somebody tell me what intercompany owed means?
It's a terminology that this consultant or this accounting firm uses. We know it as due tos, due froms. When you take money from one account and borrow until revenues come in that you can go ahead and pay back. So it's within funds within our village
Oh,
budget.
I see. I gotcha.
So it basically is the TIF fund owes the general fund and the open space fund.
I got it.
Those are the major.
Okay. TIF owes open space and general, basically.
Yep. Which
I got it.
nothing's changed that. You knew that. Yep.
Right. Yes, I'm not familiar with that term. And the other is a question on the non-home rule balance.
Yeah,
It starts at 27 and stops at 2015. So
No, there were additional tabs down at the bottom of that spreadsheet that took it all the way through to current.
okay, I did tab down thinking, oh well, maybe it's on another page, but
It's another worksheet in the Excel sheet.
Okay, because I was on like line 300 and I thought, okay, whatever. All right.
Now that refers to, Rita, some of the motor fuel tax and how we're able to use it. And in fact, it's kind of basically it's keeping open. It's keeping open finances for a long time because we've used so much money of general fund and other areas for roads that if we ever needed to, we could justify absolutely every penny of motor fuel tax and then some, that it got used for the purposes it's restricted to.
I see. Okay, thank you. That's it.
And could you remind me of what the restrictions are on the other funds?
Motor fuel tax is roads and road maintenance.
No, the
DCEO money.
the 550.
Pardon?
Oh,
The
yeah.
500,
The ARPA?
Oh,
the ARPA.
oh, ARPA. It's three. One I think is lost. Two of them don't actually apply to us, and the one that really applies to us is more infrastructure and water.
Okay.
I can get back with the memo. The other two have to do more with actual lost revenues. And I'm trying to remember what the other one is. Greg, if you know, please chime in.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Ann. Also available for emergency cost coverage. There's actually a pretty long list. I think for us, we're probably looking chiefly at either expenses directly attributable to the pandemic or our capital infrastructure. And I think that we certainly have more than ample room to make use of the monies within that category.
Does it have to be a
For
new
sure.
project? Or can it be a project that was already? In other
We
words,
would not be able to reimburse ourselves for something.
Oh,
It has to be, I can't remember I think it's between March of 2020 and December 31, 2024. I
That's
don't have
correct.
the dates off the top of my head.
would
No,
Stemple, would,
that's the right window.
would Stemple qualify?
All right. All right.
I believe it would.
Temple?
We're doing the water main reroute, right?
Oh, but I don't think the parking lot, the road paving is part of that,
Not the
right?
not the parking
not the
lot.
paving.
Yeah,
No.
not the parking lot. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
not from what I read. So, I mean, the water seems like the thing
Yeah,
that's,
the water and certainly we have more than enough water improvements that we can identify on our to-do list.
I'll check it to do to work with Greg and Denise to make sure it's a very succinct memo to everybody.
Well, can I expand on that a little bit? I had a couple of public comments today, if you will, and that's one of them. At what point are we ready to kind of tell the public what we're doing and what we're getting? I know we've had a lot of discussion internally, and everybody on my screen is currently froze. I don't know if that's me. There we go.
no, but we can still see you.
Yeah, but at what point do we sort of make it kind of public information as to what we're doing, what we're planning on doing with that money, and sort of getting buy-in? At the end of the day, theoretically, we don't have to take the money and we don't have to use it, because at the end of the day, it's still coming out of our pockets one way or the other. But, to me, I just thought we haven't really had a public discussion about what we're planning on doing. And down the road, if we connect to Lake Michigan Water, I'd really be curious to know what that rollout looks like in terms of who actually has connectivity to that system. And, up here in the north side of town, I contemplate whether or not that benefit will ever benefit my future homeowner, and why we want to do it if it doesn't, or maybe that's the wrong way of putting it. Like, how many people are actually going to be able to connect up to this thing and at what cost and what projected cost, so that we can at least know whether it makes sense for us to continue doing it or not. Big picture guy tonight, sorry.
Chris, you make it sound like we're having secret conversations that we aren't ready to share, and that's
No,
not the case.
I truly understand that, completely understand that. I realize we're all recorded, but at what point do we go, here it is. Here's what we're getting. Here's what we're planning on doing. Here's what the project looks like, and putting it up on Bill's screen and letting it project it out to say, here's what the
Fair.
overall big picture is. And oh, by the way, at the end of the day, how many people actually connect to it? I think all those are really good questions to ask, because there is an alternative, and the alternative is we don't take the money.
It sits in a segregated account for that purpose, by the way.
Yeah,
So it
I
doesn't get
appreciate
mixed in
that.
with anything.
Yep.
And the other public comment I had was, do we still have that pile of wood sitting out by the pump house, by the way, which we used to call the bridge? And what are we doing with that? Bill's just fix laughing. Stop
We're
laughing.
trying, Ryan and I are trying to get together to work out something. There's even been talk of making a miniature bridge out of it
Hmm,
and
okay.
putting it in the park. It's a question of not enough hours in the day to get something done, but we will get to it soon.
Thanks, Bobby. I just wanted to know that we haven't forgotten about it. So as long as there's
No,
something
as a matter of
contemplated,
fact,
that's great.
I went over there a week or two ago and wanted to check on whether it was rotting, and it is not,
Okay, that's good.
which I
Thank
thought
you.
was.
Sorry to Shanghai the meeting, Bill. I apologize.
No, you're
I'll
great.
go
No,
back to
good,
being
good,
quiet.
good comments.
But I want to tag on to what Chris was saying about this money. And I too, like Chris, I want to see this as a whole process. That I guess we said in the beginning that we do Lake Michigan Water, but maybe not. Maybe that doesn't make sense for us because we never really talked about who's going to be with the recipient of that water and so I think we need a broad discussion because this orgy that's going on in Washington is going to end someday. And when I look in the eyes of my grandchild who says, "Where's that money coming from?" And I say to her, "You're paying for it." I want to have a good answer for our future generation as to those who are going to be paying for this.
Yep, I hear you and I agree with you. So I guess the first step, we're accepting the first part of the money. It's close to $1 million in total. But we don't have to use it. We can send it back, but we need to figure out what's the appropriate use for it. So I hear you. And plus it's our money. It's our money. We're all paying
money,
taxes,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To me, we've talked and we're trying to get scheduled a vision session of kind of where do we see all this
Yep.
heading, and to me that would be key to then driving this too.
Yep,
So
I agree.
very much agree and
Yeah.
appreciate.
Yeah, I've got some good news just to talk publicly since we're doing this. We got the census results and they still have to be certified by the state, but we're up 4%. So we're 8043 is what it was on the last one, and 8366 is what it is. So it's about a 4% increase. So the state as a whole is down by about a little bit less than about 1% or a little less than 1%. So we're up, which the reason I bring it up here is we've been talking about finances. We'll hopefully see at some point in time, once the results are certified by the state, an increase in the share of the different distributed funds, motor fuel tax, et cetera, will come our way. So that should hopefully be a positive. Not a ton, but it's better than the other way, right? So
Yeah.
some good news.
Right.
Yeah, it's something an easy rule of thumb. It's a little more than $100 a person gets distributed.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that helps out a little bit each, what is it, each month or each year, right? So, yep. All right, that's all I have. Are we done with the treasurer's report?
End of report.
Okay. Then moving right along, the village engineers report. I think that means Jeff's on the hot seat now.
My chair's pretty comfortable over here, so we'll see how this goes, right? So, sorry, joke. Anyway, just wanted to highlight a few things, I'll take it with the active projects. Certainly a lot of things on the report, and if I skip over something, that's not because I didn't think it was important. But North Kruger Road, as of Friday last week, the project is 93% done. There's some site restoration and growing of grass that needs to happen specifically north of Thimbleweed on the west side of the road.
Jeff, if I might make a comment about the trees that are being put in, or they must have got them at a really bargain price because they are crappy trees. I mean, they are really, really scuzzy.
Probably in terms of size and they're not looking very good either? Is it
It's a common,
accurate?
yes, it's
Yeah.
size and shape and they just, they do not look good.
Okay. Yeah, it might be worth having our friendly village forester next time he's in the village drive by and offer his expert opinion on that too.
Okay,
Okay, the Stemple parking lot. The good news is that Geske and Sons told me that I was going to be receiving the contract documents this week. They said they mailed them out yesterday, so obviously I didn't get them today, and it was an overnight mail, but we're working forward with that. We're still working through the land negotiations with Cigars and More in the Park District. So to Bill's point, we'll leave that where it is right now. The discussions with Cigars and More have been going very well, though. I did want to mention that. So we're still working on getting the time and action plan from Geske and Sons. They've been a little bit less than expedient with answering that request, but as Manager Jackson emailed out yesterday to the entire board, I think we had a discussion yesterday about just redoubling down those efforts, and we need this plan. We need to get this project done. So I will share all of that information with Greg. He'll hopefully share it with the board as it comes in, but we're working hard on that. The next one is the Robert Parker Coffin Path. We've got Chicagoland paving contractors on board for that. We're going to have a pre-construction meeting on Friday to kick that project off. Same thing. We're going to request the timing and action plan from Chicagoland. They haven't provided that to date, but we should get it either at the pre-construction meeting, which I'm not too optimistic about, but early next week. So same thing, I'll share that when we have that. The completion date for that project is November 24th. So
That's the pathway, right, Jeff?
correct. Yep,
In time for Thanksgiving.
that's right. Another project that it's not a village project, but IDOT doing the patching on Route 83. Just wanted to highlight that the state has informed me that the project from time to time will be ongoing through the end of September. So unfortunately, the delays and frustrations of those delays is going to last a little bit longer.
you know, it's not that the work is out there, it's that there's no consistency to it. So sometimes it takes somebody 10 minutes, other times it takes 25.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Good news, North Kruger's open now, though.
Well, yes, indeedy. And
Yes.
it's a nice
Very
road.
nice, yeah.
The last board meeting, I mentioned very briefly that there was a meeting between the village and IDOT on the improvements of Route 22 and Route 83. And after the meeting, IDOT was to finalize their feasibility study, which is all of their, rock fetching on that one, and also putting out their formal plan of what they are going to move forward with, AKA their preferred plan. I checked in with IDOT, and due to their process, we should be seeing that final feasibility report the week of September 3rd. The last thing I want to touch on, unfortunately, the material shortage bug has hit the light pole industry. So the light pole in front of the Olive Tap 238 Robert Parker Coffin Road is not expected to arrive to the village until mid-November. So I know I was very, very hopeful that we'd have that, here in the next few weeks, but no, unfortunately, that's the reality of that chain. And there's still work going on with the overheight detection system. Nothing to really report on that tonight, other than discussions and additional thoughts are being shared regularly. Hopefully we have that for the board. Bobby, you can chime in here in the next week or two.
So do we know what's going to happen when an overheight is detected? What's the next step?
Well,
So
that's, I think that's what we're working on now,
Yep.
Ken. Myself and
Okay.
and Trustee O'Reilly and electrician, and I'm sorry, I forget his name, Sandy
Scott,
or Scott. And Jeff were out today. We were walking through with the electrician, looking at potential ways that the detection system could be posted and how it would activate and what kind of signals it would allow. And then we were looking at electric layout. So we're still trying to figure the intricacies out, timing of alarms, things of that nature. But in its very basic form, somebody hits the beam because their truck is too high, it'll send either a visual and or audible alert, but as they approach the bridge, which would indicate to them that they shouldn't be crossing the bridge. That's the
Okay.
way, I guess, simplest way to describe it.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, it's not your predecessor wanted, guns to go off and, I don't know, arrows flying out, fireworks, but it won't be anything like that.
it
so.
was the rocket that really did it in.
The rocket, there you go.
It would be fun though if that happened.
Yeah, might be
How
a
do you
liability
describe
issue.
that sound that sounds like
Yeah.
auga, like an old-fashioned automobile?
Yeah.
Or you,
We met
you know-
with a different supply, somebody new today, and they had some really good ideas and in how to incorporate things together. So I look forward to how that will get a little more cohesive.
Yep.
So
Keep going,
at the
keep
tail
going,
end of this morning's meeting, and I'll just share it with the board. I made an observation, and I shared it with Bobby, that if we remember going back, almost 2 years ago, we were talking about replacing the timber cover and extending that cover 10 feet, so that the foundations of it wouldn't sit right on the foundation or the abutment for the bridge. And as the different accidents have happened, the observation that I've made is, those vehicles are stopped by the steel trim and the steel frame, and they're stopped. And although their wheels go further into the bridge than the actual face of it, because the cover is extended 5 feet on each side, there's been very few vehicles that have overweight that have actually made it onto the bridge because of that. So that was a great decision from the village board to do that. So just wanted to pass that along.
Well, I think it's something we all forgot we did, that you made us do.
That we discussed and arrived at as with consensus, right?
Right.
I don't know, I've been telling
Kind
it
of
to the
like the
press every,
metal.
I've been telling that to the press every time, Bobby. That's all I've been saying. It's doing its job, protecting the bridge.
Well, think of if that metal frame in there had not been put in. I
Yep.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't have a bridge, it'd be gone again.
yeah.
Jeff, does that metal frame have it's just a curiosity question, and maybe it's rhetorical, but like a boxer, at so many times, it gets hit so many times, does the metal strain at all, or is that like not in our lifetime?
I would say that it's not in our lifetime.
But you can see the encounters.
It's fighting back, that's for sure.
At so many times, you hit the metal, it's doing its job, but the metal has to absorb it.
Right.
Well,
So
it's more than that though, too. You got the footings that go how far in the ground, Jeff? The
you
pylons?
Well, you got the concrete footings only go down, 5-6 feet, but yeah, that's on steel posts, piles that go down 20 feet past that. So.
Yeah, so it's taking a lot of
Good
the
to know.
ground's taking some of the shock, right? And
Yep.
and it was
I
a
wonder
20
if there's
mile,
an easy way to explain that.
yeah, the 20 mile per hour truck crash is what it can take, right? Is that what we decided?
Right.
So, fairly, a truck can hit it at 20 miles an hour. It's not going anywhere. So it's going to have to be a pretty high speed hit.
I just want, my question was just how many times can that happen before we should, so, and the answer is not in our lifetime.
At least we hope not.
Yeah.
So those are the items that I just wanted to highlight tonight. If there's any questions or wanted to go into detail in any of the other items, please let me know, and I'm happy to talk about them.
Is the Grove done?
The Grove is not done. They submitted an as-built grading plan to me about a week and a half ago. And independently, we checked their work and found some differences between what they provided and what we found. So we need to get those resolved. Until then, I actually hope that they don't do any black dirt topsoil work. I haven't heard anything back from that, and I'll probably be reaching out to them later this week, just to keep the focus on getting this project done.
But the height is down to where it should be?
Portions of it are close. It's on the west side of it. There's portions that are still about 9 inches too high. There's portions on the east side that are still 2 feet too high. So.
Okay.
It's not close enough to where it's within any sort of reasonable construction tolerance. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, end of report for Jeff? Before we move into, was there a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say end of report.
Oh, okay, end of report. Thank you. Thanks for that report. Before we move into public comment, a secret admirer of Rita wanted me to wish her a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Rita.
Happy birthday.
Is it
Happy
your birthday,
birthday.
Rita? Happy birthday.
Come on,
We can do better than that.
Come on,
Happy
Vic.
Happy birthday
to
to you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, we couldn't do better than that.
Oh,
That was
Happy birthday, dear Rita.
We lost her, by the way, too.
I think we
We
lost
did lose her.
her.
2 years
lose
she's
her.
We're
gone.
singing to ourselves.
I will say, my power is flickering here.
Yeah, there was just a bolt of lightning when we started singing.
Yeah, well, I don't know what that means either, but we lost Rita. Oh, bummer.
Yes, we did.
I wish her a happy birthday and she just evaporated.
Oh, no.
I think everybody's power. I can't hear my generator go on, but our lights flickered. I'm pretty sure my generator's on and she's kind of over here by me.
We lost Jenny too.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we
and
did.
Jenny's even closer to me.
Yeah,
So their power's out.
that's what it is.
Huh.
Because mine's flickering here.
All right, well, hope they can join via mobile phone. I'll open it up for public comment. I think, Amy, you're the only one that's here from the public. Oh, I guess Anna has public comment. Yep.
I have a question on Harbor Chase, the landscaping, because I
Well,
mean,
that's not public
every time
comment.
I go by, I know. So my comment is, every time I go by, I am dismayed to see how much teasel is there right on 83. So not only is it not what it should be, it's all kinds of things it shouldn't be.
We had a conversation with the new executive director. We had myself and Jeff went out about a week ago, a little over a week ago, met with the acting or assistant executive director who is now no longer with them. New executive director took over. We had a conversation with him today. He seems much, much more eager than his predecessor to work with us. Jeff provided him with the documentations from our arborist and plant experts and said, you know, take a look at this. This is what we need to do. We need to remove this trees. We talked him through a bunch of things, gave him the paperwork. He tied it directly to his corporate office. We're hoping to see some activity on there very quickly.
Well, I hope
Thank you.
at some point we give them the option of discussing mowing it and getting rid of everything that's there and putting in sod like everybody else in the world. And make it so it doesn't look like like they're not open for business. Because they do not look like they're open for business. And I think it's a terrible place to have a prairie, and I think we ought to mow it and get some kind of trees and attractive growing things in it.
I'd love to hear what the arborist says. I agree, sod would look better. I also think more and more we need to be mindful of water too, but.
Well,
All right, so I see Rita back, and I'm guessing Jenny's back too, right? You're on mute though, Rita.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, lost internet and power, so.
Rita, you're muted.
I know. Yeah, Jenny and I must be on the same grid.
Yeah, or lack thereof. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you on my cell phone. Can't get it
All right,
up.
did you hear our birthday singing? We wished you a happy birthday and everything. Did you hear that?
Who?
We wished you a
Oh.
happy birthday. You have a secret admirer that wished you a happy birthday, and so we all sang happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much.
that's probably what caused the power.
Did Vic sing?
Yeah.
You mean I missed a Vic?
You did, yes, yeah.
Oh my God, that's terrible. Now I have to listen to the recording.
Rita,
I
don't
believe
go
the
to,
answer is you
don't go to
didn't
the
miss a
tape.
thing.
Don't go to the tape, trust me.
Well, thank you very much.
Yep, no, I believe it's what, next week, right?
Yes.
Yep, so, all right, I won't even say the date, but I figured it out, so, from last year, so.
Too bad, so sad. What, August 31st?
31st, you got it, yep.
Week from today. So week from today means I can really party.
There you go.
Well, happy birthday, so.
Well, thank you very much.
Indeed.
All right. So Helen's back too. She got knocked off as well, I guess. So yep. Helen, we're in public comment right now. Was there any public comment? Okay, you're muted, but I could read your lips. No.
No comment. I'm just attending as part of the Plan Commission.
Well, thanks for being here tonight, Helen. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Amy didn't have anything either, right?
Nope, I got nothing.
Okay, well, I'm going to end the public comment session. And now I'm going to look for a motion to go into executive session. Vic, do I need to read all this? I guess I do, right?
I at least I think the only thing that we really would be covering would be, unless I'm wrong, would be the minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, review executive session minutes, which is the 5 ILCS 120-2C
Right.
in parentheses
And I guess
/21. Yeah.
in deference to the power issues that some people may be experiencing, we might want to ask if anyone wants to discuss the draft minutes that were in the packet. And if not, we could have a motion straight away
Does
I have
anyone
no
want,
without
discussion or
the
comment.
executive session.
I have
I'm
no
good.
comment or discussion.
anybody else?
Nope.
Nope.
Chris?
No,
All right. Well, then does somebody want to make a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes from the
So moved.
June
Second.
8th, 2021 meeting? Yeah. All right. So it was moved by trustee O'Connor and seconded by trustee O'Reilly. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yep.
Roll call. Michelle?
Trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee O'Reilly,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
I,
trustee Kritzmeyer,
Aye.
trustee Michaud,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci.
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't yet a trustee on June the 8th.
All right. Motion carried. Thank you. Thanks.
I'm gonna
Good.
try to log back in, so
You can try to what?
I'm gonna try to log back in on my laptop.
Well, I
No,
think
don't
we're
do
done
it.
I
with
think
the
we're about
meeting.
to finish.
I'm
We're done.
moving to adjourn the meeting,
Yeah,
Rita.
so, all right. Motion to adjourn, moved by trustee Borowski,
Second?
seconded by trustee O'Reilly. It's a roll call, please.
Did you say we have executive session or not?
No, we decided not to have it.
Oh, perfect. Okay, all right, fine. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. Sorry.
Yep, no,
The
so
only-
we, go ahead. All right, so it was motion to adjourn by Chris Borowski, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. It's a roll call.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee O'Reilly,
Aye.
trustee Kritzmeyer,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Michaud,
Hi.
and trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Well done, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Congratulations.
Have a good
Everybody.
night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.